Our story has to go back to July 7th, 1964. At 3:44 a.m. on a Tuesday morning in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, our son was born. Our first child, Stephen James.
During the time we lived in the Upper Peninsula, a father could not be in the delivery room with the mother. For all of our 5 children, I wasn't allowed to be in the delivery room. But the doctor came out and he said, they're both doing okay. And I thought, Lord, twins. I didn't want twins. He said, your wife, and your son. But about 5 months later, Stephen, got pneumonia in the croup, and during those days, they put a child under an oxygen tent. You could not hold them. We had a call one night from the doctor, and he said, if you want to see your son alive for the last time, please come to the hospital. So we went thinking that he would soon die, but he didn't, and we had him for quite a few more years after that, for which we're very thankful.
And then we have to fast forward to May 5, 1995. It was a Friday. I had come home from work, and there was a message on our answer machine. And it was from a nurse from St. Mary's Hospital, and it was for Harold. So I just kind of ignored it because I figured it had to do with his work or something like that. And then we got a phone call, or I received a phone call from our daughter who lives in Wisconsin, and she was just sobbing hysterically. I couldn't understand anything she was saying. And finally she said the word Stephen. And I immediately knew that it was not St. Mary's in Grand Rapids, but it was St. Mary's in Racine, Wisconsin, and that our son, something was wrong. So I immediately called them to find out that our son had been involved in a motorcycle car accident. When I called the hospital, they wouldn't tell me anything. I said that I was returning their phone call. They kept telling me that hospital policy did not permit them to share any information with us, but we needed to come as quickly as possible. After arguing for a while and talking all the way up the ladder to the top supervisor, I asked, is my son dead? And she said no. And I thanked her for being honest. By this time, my husband was on the way home from work. I literally grabbed our toothbrushes and a clean pair of underwear, and we drove way too fast to Wisconsin, only to get to the hospital to find out that we'd been lied to, that he had been killed, and he had been dead since the scene of the accident. And that begins a whole series of bizarre things that are huge messes that really, I don't think, fit in with most deaths. Out of those messes have come lots of blessings and lots of good things, and things that I personally have been able to share with other mainly grieving mothers who have lost children. And over the years, there has been many. One was a woman I met at a ladies' retreat at Gull Lake, and she was sitting by herself, and I asked if I could join her. And she said yes, and I told her my name, and she just started to cry. And I had no idea what was wrong. And she later, after crying for a few moments, she shared with me that her son had died of a drug overdose. And she was devastated. And she lived with this horrible, horrible guilt of the circumstances of her son's death. And after sharing with her for a while, I shared with her that I had lost a son also. And that through God's helping me, I had learned to keep my focus on his life and the number of days or years that we were able to have him, rather than the day of his death. And that brought comfort to me to celebrate his life and not just to concentrate on his death. We talked for a long time. She thanks me for sharing, and I never saw her again. Some of the lessons that I think I have learned and I've changed in the way that I talk to somebody about losing a child is, number one, never ever say to the person, I know how you feel. because you don't. And even if you've lost a child, you don't know how they feel. You don't know what their relationship was. So don't say that. Don't say they're in a better place, because even though that's probably true, you don't want them in that better place. You want them here with you. So that doesn't bring comfort. That's not something you want to hear. I will readily admit, I was very angry. I was very angry at God. Stephen was a Christian, and I knew that he was going to be in heaven for eternity. And I didn't think it was too much to ask of God to let me have him until I died. He was supposed to marry me. I wasn't supposed to marry him. So I had to deal with that anger for a long time, longer than I'd like to admit. But I finally let God know how I felt, even though I know he knows how I felt without me telling him. But it helped me to voice it and to do that. But those are things don't do, but the things that you can do, which are greatly comfort to anybody that's lost a child, is just give them a hug. Don't quote scripture to them. Don't tell them. Don't give them advice. Just hug them. And another thing is to always don't hesitate to send a card, to give them a hug anytime, and let them know that you remember their child. Send them a note that says thinking of you on the day that would have been their birthday, or on the day that they died.
That doesn't make a parent think, oh, I forgot I lost a child.
Yeah. Oh, I got a card.
Every time
I wish it hadn't reminded me.
Yeah, every time you hear a goose fly over, like Saturday, these 4 geese fly over and they were honking. I thought of my son because we did a lot of duck hunting, goose hunting together, and you don't get it. It was a great reminder of many happy memories, but it was a reminder that he was gone also. So
we were very blessed in that we were allowed to have Stephen for 30 years and 9 months and 28 days. And I'm so thankful for every one of those days. They're very precious. And I don't want to ever forget any of them.
1 Thessalonians 4:13 says, we sorrow not as those who have no hope. It's a different kind of a sorrow, but it's a hopeful sorrow. I also wanted to mention, I'm reminded of my son regularly. This little note here, he wrote to me on 7/17/1980, and I keep it on a spot on my dresser. It says, Dad, hang in there. And he shared Romans 5:3 and 12:12. And both these verses have to do with suffering and prayer and hope.
What gets me through each day is to keep my focus not on my loss, but on Stephen's gain. Because when I think of my loss, the grief consumes me. But when I think of his gain, which is heaven, I can't do anything but be happy. It brings a smile to my face. It brings comfort to my heart to know that he is safe in heaven.